Welcome back to the IE427 garage, everybody. I have been putting off working on the Mustang project that's here in the shop simply because it's just too hot, or it has been too hot out in the main shop in the evenings and especially during the days on the weekends to start pulling all of the parts and all the stuff that was packed inside the car when the owners of this car brought it over here. So I think what I'm going to do over the next couple of days or evenings is I'm going to start pulling all that stuff out. I'm going to set up a couple of folding tables. I'm going to start pulling the stuff out of the inside of the car and organizing it so that I can go ahead and put all that stuff up on the mezzanine and hopefully get it sorted so that when I need a certain part, I'll know exactly where I have it. I've got some packing boxes here, so anything that's not in a box, I can put in a box and then label the box. And I'm going to try to give you guys some tips on how to organize your project, regardless of whether it's a 68 Mustang like we have here, or a Factory 5 product, or pretty much anything. So come right back and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. Here a few months ago, and the owners of this car moved out of state approximately the same time that we moved the shop. So if you remember, our shop was previously over at our other house. We moved the shop down here to our other property, primarily just to get it away from where we live. You know, the funny thing about YouTube and social media in general is that regardless of how small a channel you have, and our channel is still very small in comparison to some of the others on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. There are those out there that want to meet you. They see you in their living rooms, or they see you in their computer screen every week, and they think they know you. And while I can appreciate that, what I am on those social media platforms is very much what I am in person. However, I may not know any of you. I don't have interactions with you. And even though I may answer a question that you've posted on a video, or I may answer with a reply on Facebook or Instagram, I don't know you as a person. And it can be kind of creepy when people say, oh, I drove by your shop, or, you know, I went by your place and there was nobody there. And so we took steps to give ourselves a little bit of anonymity. Now, I've said this in the past. Anybody that knows me with a little bit of digging could find out who Mrs. IE427 actually is. Now, I don't encourage that. You know, she wants to keep a certain amount of anonymity, and I can appreciate that. She's not the one that is on camera every week. So I don't want to go into a long rant on this kind of stuff, but there are other channels out there much larger than this where people have made attempts to get onto people's properties, and you know, again, they think they know you, and that's the thing. I don't want any of you to feel like outcasts, but we don't know you, right? So do your best to be as responsible as you can, and try not to invade personal space. That being said, that's the whole thing on the shop moving. This car has been here for probably 4 or 5 months, and it's had pretty much no work done to it yet. And that is because of the fact that there is only one air-conditioned space inside the shop, and I could not dedicate that spot in the shop to unloading this car because it was very difficult to open the doors and the trunk and have room to move around the car while I was unpacking it. I was more concerned about the finished paint on this car than I was getting the stuff out of it at the time. And it was hot out here in the shop, and so this car just had to wait. You know, we had other projects that came into the shop first, but we try to work on all the projects throughout. So if I get held up on one project because I'm waiting on a part or I'm waiting on money, then I'll take that project off. I'll put another project on, and then I'll work until I'm out of money and out of parts for that car. I'll get back to the coupe in a minute. So this one has kind of sat dormant for a while because we were waiting for the weather to change. And last week, I think I told you guys, I had planned to do the dash on the Mark IV. And I didn't do that because it was overcast and just a terrible day to be doing that. Well, guess what? The next couple of days here are going to be cold and overcast and generally just shitty. So I decided that since I'm waiting on a couple of things on the Mark IV and it's now cooled down in the shop here, let me see if I can see what the temperature is in here. It's 65 degrees in the shop, which is comfortable to work. I mean, I'm wearing a sweatshirt, a hoodie, but it's comfortable to work here in the shop. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to unwrap this. I'm going to go ahead and take the cover off. I'll fold it up. I'll probably have Mrs. IE 427 come out here maybe tomorrow, maybe 2 days from now when it's supposed to clear. We'll take the car cover out and we'll shake it out really good because there's probably a lot of just dust that's accumulated on the car cover while it's been sitting here, and we don't want to put it back on the car with that dust on it. So I'm going to take the car cover off, and then I'm going to start going through the parts that are all packed inside of this, because what I'd like to do here in the next few weeks is get a upholstery guy to come out here to the shop and hopefully put the headliner in here, or at least give me a price on what it's going to take to get the headliner put in this thing, because I've never done a headliner. I'm not opposed to learning how to do it, but I don't want this car to be the first car I put a headliner in. I've also got to research where the dome light goes in this thing so I can get that installed before the headliner goes in. I think we have all of the trim pieces that go around, the A-pillars and stuff like that, so that the headliner can tuck in. I think primarily on the front where the A-pillars are, it's just the window molding, the windshield molding that holds the headliner in place, at least at the top, but I'll have to check. And then get the headliner, but first, before I do that, I got to get all the stuff out of the inside of the car. The old seats are in there, or the new seats, I don't know which. All that stuff has to come out of the inside. The entire car is full of parts. The entire trunk is full of parts. I mean, the hood is on it, but it's just resting on there. The fenders are on the back of the dually, along with the windshield and the rear glass. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to procure another storage rack like the ones we have back here. I'm going to put that over in the corner, and I'm going to stack the fenders and all of the glass up on there, because you can see over here I've got some more of the glass. I've got the wind wings over here. I think I've also got the rear quarter glass and the side windows as well, all sitting right here on top of my Shopsmith. I'd like to get those all put over there as well. So I'm going to see about getting that stuff, but I need to get all of the stuff out of here so I can see where I need to start. I know before I put the engine in, I'm going to want to get the steering column in. I'm going to want to get the master cylinder and brake booster in. I'm going to want to get anything that I have to put in for the clutch system put in here, so that I'm not working backwards. I don't want to have to put the motor in and pull it out again. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to see what I have and what I might need. So I want to get all the stuff out of here, and I want to get ready to start work on this thing. All right, everybody, next day. I am going to apologize. That one light that's out in the shop, if you watch the Mrs. IE 427 channel on this most recent video that we put out, there is a light out in the shop right there. And so therefore, this car is right underneath it. And so the video is going to be kind of dark, and I apologize for that. But I did get to work yesterday afternoon and into the evening. I got about half the trunk cleaned out, and I got those parts organized and upstairs. But there's still quite a bit of stuff in here. Now, some of this stuff is going to get stored away long term, meaning we probably won't put it in until the very end. Like the car owner has some covering for the trunk. It's like a trunk mat and a spare tire cover and some other stuff like that. All that stuff's going to be put away, so we don't have to worry about damaging it. But, you know, other stuff in here, you know, there's brake pads right here. There's a hose right there that I think is for our fuel inlet. There's a bunch of just miscellaneous parts. There's a speed sensor for the T5 transmission that we have. Those two boxes right there, I believe, are brake rotors. So, bunch of stuff. This box says that it's clutch, brake, pedal, and clutch cable. So I'm going to have to go through that stuff because that has to go in. Those are going to be some of the first things that go in because we need all that stuff in before the dash goes in. So we need the pedals in before the master cylinder and the brake booster go in, etc., etc. But you can see the inside of the car is just hammered. There's just all kinds of stuff in there. I mean, there's a radio bezel over there. We've got some rags, some what are those? The lint-free rags, the microfibers. We've got old sun visors that are the wrong color for the inside of the car, which probably will get thrown away. The seats, I believe, have already been recovered. So the seats are going to have to come out of here, and we're going to have to store them. I'll probably put plastic bags over them. There's the front grille. And then the front valance, it's like the upper valance where the bumper fits into the front of the car just at the grill line. So bunch of stuff still in the car, and I've got to get all that stuff out of there so that I can start working on this thing. And, you know, it's perfect weather now because in the shop right now, you know, it's about dinner time. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening. But, you know, temperatures right now are in the 70s here in the shop. Now, I wait much longer. You know, we get into some of the more late fall, early winter months, and it's going to be cold out here. It's going to drop down into the 50s in the evening. So I'd rather not be working out here. I'll work in here on the weekends when the sun's out and it's warm. But I want to get going on this car because it arrived just after the coupe, and the coupe's been on hold for 4 or 5 months now. I mean, I completely stopped work on the coupe because I got to a standstill. I was just stuck. So let's we'll put the Mustang aside for now. I'm going to keep working on it this evening. I'm going to try to get some stuff out of here. I got all the stuff from last night off of the table and up onto the mezzanine earlier this afternoon when I got home. So with the table clean again, I'm going to fill it up tonight, and then I'll probably go through that stuff tomorrow. But I wanted to take just a couple of minutes and talk about the coupe. All right, so here's the deal with the coupe. We stopped working on the coupe because we ran out of things to do on it. We're stuck with no engine, no transmission. And, well, I probably could have run the rear harness, the chassis harness down the center of the tunnel. I'm waiting only because it's already pretty crowded in there. I mean, you can see we've got the 2 fuel lines. The brake lines are in there as well. We've got a T56 transmission going here, which takes up just all kinds of room in this tunnel. And so what I don't want to do is I don't want to put any more stuff into that transmission tunnel and then find out that I don't have room for it, or I put it in the wrong spot and I got to move it. So the chassis harness isn't a big deal. I can actually strap it to the top supports if I have to. But we've been waiting on the engine. And, you know, I'm not going to go into a long story about the engine, but basically what the deal is the owner of this car had someone that was building the car before us. And I think he was, you know, it's a friend or a family friend or a neighbor, one of those things. And for whatever reason, the car wasn't making progress, kind of like it hasn't since it's gotten here. But the main stumbling block on this is that the engine was being built by that same friend, neighbor, whoever it is. I've never met the guy. I'm not going to, you know, I can't speak to, you know, what the situation is. However, without the engine, I can't put any of the front aluminum on. I can't put the radiator in and a lot of other stuff because on the coupe, the nose extends so far and the radiator sticks out so far. I mean, the radiator comes in at this angle. So try and get a shop crane in over that and reach into there. I'm going to move this. These are my templates for my nose aluminum. Anyways, so I mean, there is an alternative. I mean, you can bring the engine hoist in from the side over here, but then you have to pull the wheel off because you can't get the crane in or engine hoist in close enough to get it into the right spot. So, I mean, it just didn't make sense. There were so many other things going on that I wasn't pushing the owner of this car to get me the engine. But he recently went on a trip, and just before he left on that trip, he called me and he said, you know, I'm tired of waiting. If the engine isn't done or ready by X date, I don't know, remember what the date was that he gave me. He said, I'm just going to order a crate engine and be done with it. Now, the engine that's going in here is a Gen 2 Coyote out of an F-150 pickup that he had basically rebuilt. It's going to have some upgraded parts in it, and he wants to do a stack injection on it. And so that's the way he was going. It's going to have a Holley HP for controlling it, the engine. So that's the route he was going on the engine. And in the process of this, you know, he brought the car to us, and he was hoping that just leaving the build of the engine was going to be, how do I say this, was not going to be so overwhelming to this person that was building the car previously that he'd be able to get it done in a certain amount of time. That didn't happen, but I just got a text here on Friday. So Friday, today's Monday, that the engine's supposedly ready. Now, I was told that in the beginning that the engine was going to be run in on a run-in stand, and that they were going to dyno the engine and everything else. So now I'm getting an engine that hasn't gone through any of that stuff. It's basically just the engine. So I don't know. We'll see what happens when we go to first start this thing, because now I'm in a situation where I'm going to have to buy some tools that I wasn't planning on buying, because normally when you do a Coyote, you know, if it comes from Ford or it comes from, you know, one of the other suppliers, the engine has been run in and there's engine oil on the top end of the motor. And so you don't have to worry about, you know, priming the engine before you start it. Well, the Coyote and the LS's, if you pull them completely apart and, you know, clean everything out, now there's no oil in it, they require special tools in order to pre-lube the engine. And I don't have those. So it's going to be interesting, you know, when we get to that point, what I need to buy in order to get this oiling system pre-lubed. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So I should be getting the engine for this, I'm hoping, in the next week or two. If not, then, you know, I have no control over it. So we'll just have to see how things go. Because, you know, I really want to get, since the Mark IV The King's Cobra is on the lift now, and I'm so close to first start I can taste it. I'd really like to get that car first started because it'll make it a hell of a lot easier to move around the shop. Because right now I have 3 cars in the shop that don't move under their own power. The Coupe, the Mustang over here, and the King's Cobra that's sitting on top of the 4-post lift. So it makes it really inconvenient when I got to move things around the shop because I got to push each and every one of them. So if Mrs. IE 427 isn't around, then that means pushing them, up on the lift and off of the lift all on my own. And when you have an engine in the car like we have in the Mark IV, the King's Cobra, that extra added weight makes it that much harder to get it up the ramps and onto the lift. Where this one with no engine in it, piece of cake. You push it doesn't weigh much. You just push it right up there. Mustang's a little bit different story. It's got 4 flat tires, and so it's on the wheel dollies. It's easy to push around the shop, but I can't get it on the lift without putting air in the tires and taking it off the dollies. And anyways, you guys don't need to hear me bitch, moan, and complain. But so that's kind of where we're at with the Coupe. I'm hoping to get some progress done on the Coupe. I'm hoping to get the King's Cobra first started here in the next couple weeks, and I'm really trying to get some of the work done on the Mustang so that we can get working on it, because up until this point it's just been pulling parts out of it when I have the chance, organizing them, and finding out what I do and what I don't have. So I think that's where I'm going to leave this video. You guys, honestly, you don't need to see me unpack any of the stuff from the Mustang, but this will give the owner of that car a little update on what's going on her car. You got a little update on the Coupe and where we're at with that, and then kind of where we're at with the Mark IV King's Cobra and what we plan on doing with that here in the next couple weeks as well. So if you're enjoying the content here, as always, please do the like, the share, the subscribe, all that kind of stuff. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.